Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Starting Nine. Martino Pucci and Mike Phillips alongside you guys for another week of baseball. We are entering June, and as you know it, as New York sports fans, well, New York baseball fans, not really a month that goes well for a lot of people, but the Knicks are in the NBA Finals. They play Game 1 tonight against the Spurs, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out all the other content here on U Stadium. Mike, the Mets are Metsy still. They're just very streaky under Carlos Mendoza, and this team in particular has been in the negative stretches lately. Just a really solid homestand against the Reds and the Marlins, and then dropping the first two out in Seattle. There's been some rotation changes for the Mets. Tobias Myers back down to AAA. Kodai Senga is rehabbing, or whatever the hell you want to call it, with him. It feels like it's mental 90% of the time. David Peterson starting openers, and then back at the bullpen, and then Sean Manaea, quasi revival, according to some people. This rotation outside of, McLean still struggled too a little bit, but outside of McLean and Freddie Peralta, it's been a mixed bag with this rotation since Clay Holmes especially got hurt. What do you want to talk about with this? I know we've seen a bit of Jonah Tong. Obviously, that doesn't count as a rotational piece. But, the Mets are just like putting Band-Aids over this situation. This is not a consistent starting 5 or 6 guys that they've had. This has been kind of all over the place. And a lot of it is due to the Petersons, Manaeas, and Sengas of the world just not even being good enough. Forget health.
Yeah, I think you forgot Christian Scott in there too. I feel like he's
yes, Mr. Scott. Yes, you're right.
He finally got his first big league win on Sunday, so nice for him to get that milestone off his back. And I think it's the situation with the Metsies where you're looking at this. It's like, okay, you got 3 spots kind of solidified, and say what you want about the openers. Like basically, your 4th and 5th starter now are Sean Manaea and Jonah Tong. Just having guys pitch in front of them and start the game. Sean Manaea, as much as we have bagged on him on this podcast, and Met fans online have bagged on him, he has pitched better of late. Like Monday night, he was his best bat of the season. 5 innings, 1 run, 1 hit. Like he's in position to win that ball game when they leave. If Brooks Raley doesn't hang a slider to Josh Naylor, that's one thing. The Jonah Tong thing, he's a young pitcher. He's inconsistent. I know. I watched the game last night. Dan Murphy made the good point. He's like, this is a guy he's still learning here, and like he doesn't really have that put away breaking ball that you need to really get guys out at this level. And like, if you guys see them more and more and more, people can time him up, measure him up. We saw that situation not helped by his defense a little bit. Basically, when you hit the point where he gets that 3-run homer in the 4th inning, you're like, okay, if you're watching the game, time to go to bed. Like, you're not coming back from that deficit against that pitching staff. So basically, not much you can really do here, right? Apart from, unless you think Kodai Senga figures it out and you want to swap him out for Tong and let Tong work on his breaking stuff in AAA, fine. But like, there's not much you can really do here in terms of like what their options are, because we talked about Jack Wenninger. He still walks guys too much in AAA. We saw Zach Thornton. He's okay. He probably needs more time down there as well. Like you're kind of in a spot where like, give Manaea a run. You're paying him. You might as well see what you have here, because Peterson showed he can't hack it right now. Like this is the situation. Maybe you catch lightning about Manaea. You're bullpenning 1 game a week. You just do that for a little bit and see what happens.
It's annoying. It shouldn't be the case. There's Kodai is around, was he 17.5 million this year or something like that?
He's 15 a year for 5 years.
15. Then you have Manaea, who's getting over 20, and then Peterson is whatever his salary is. We're talking about like over 40 million, right, for 3 pitchers who can't guarantee you 1 quality start. And that was the best outing for Sean Manaea, where everybody was losing their minds because he did well for 5 innings. It is just so unfixable at this point. And to your mention of Jonah Tong, I don't anticipate much of him changing, because his mechanics are so important, and it's tough to get breaking pitches over the plate. And if his fastball is kind of inconsistent with location, you're going to get more traffic runners on. We've kind of seen that with Nolan McLean as well. Listen, the defense didn't help him too much. It wasn't the worst of outings, but it's just sort of like the Mets are just bringing him up to put him in these situations. I like his mentality. I appreciate his mentality. There's something about the mechanics that are just off to me. They're not refined enough. And I know he's much younger compared to other pitchers around that age that don't really get to this level at this moment in time. He was accelerated last year. We all know that. But he was having some of those struggles still in the minor leagues this year. It's not like he was devoid of walking guys. Like he was still doing that. But, to many people's points to say, he's working on things. So naturally, it's going to take him a little bit longer to throw strikes. The Mets can't really afford that with the position that they're in. And Seattle's a tough road trip. Again, when I saw it on the schedule, I just immediately think back to our conversations. How the fuck are they on the West Coast again?
Yeah.
Who the like it is fucking bullshit. The Mets suck, but I'm sick of this shit where they've gone out. Is this the 4th time this season?
Yeah.
Correct?
They've gone out to the West Coast 4 times. The Nationals haven't gone out that far yet.
How is it possible, Mike, before the World Cup kicks off, that there's 4 fucking West Coast trips?
Because MLB decided infinite wisdom to split up the Giants and Dodgers into separate trips and put the Cardinals and Cubs on those trips. Like, that makes no sense.
It is fucking embarrassing. And it does a disservice to the players. It's not easy to do that. I don't anticipate the Mets rotation changes to really help them out anytime sooner. I mean, and also when you see guys like Tobias Myers head to AAA, and rightfully so because of his struggles out of the pen. But another guy to me, Mike, where you're just messing with him. Define a role. Are you trying to stretch him out as a starter to have him open games for you? Or is he a back-end leverage arm? Because he's all over the place with this kind of stuff. And I know Devin Williams and Luke Weaver are the higher leverage arms, but they were using Myers in those situations, considering him to go in that spot. I am just so sick of, all the inconsistencies of the roles of the players in this Mets team. And it's just tiring. And I understand and sympathize with Carlos Mendoza because of it. I know you've called out David Stearns because of it as well. Like, what do you want the manager to do when these are his options? But also, I think Mendoza does like a poor job of this. Uses guys in 2 innings when you could use him in another game, right? Like you're going down early in a ball game where your offense probably won't pick it up. It's just frustrating because to me, I just see 5 players on this roster for the most part, and 3 of them are the outfielders. And everyone else I can't stand to look at this current moment, especially hitters-wise. I mean, Myers heading to AAA, do you think that this was more of a – but I know they have to kind of do this. They have to thread the needle with the roster, get creative. But again, how many times do we have to say it? Record payroll, you shouldn't have to be doing this on June 3rd. And for like the 2nd consecutive year of where your pitching is not giving you a guarantee, which is exactly why I wanted to overpay for a starting pitcher in this past market, because now you're in this situation where you literally have to play perfect in these games to win them. And now Myers, one of what was perceived a good asset by me and yourself, is now in AAA on June 3rd, and maybe he comes back sooner than later. But it's never a good thing when they have to go down. So what are your initial reactions to this?
Yeah, from the reason they were giving us is basically that, like, this is a whole thing where the bullpen was heavily used going over the last week and a half because they had to start the 16 days in a row without an off day. They only had 2 guys who really optioned down at that point because David Peterson is far enough along his career and they put him in the bullpen. You can't send him down as consent. So the only 2 options really are Oscar Brazaban, who's been pretty solid all year, or Tobias Myers, who's been struggling a little bit, has been bouncing all over the place, opening, late innings, like long man, like you've been talking about here. I know when they sent him down, Carlos Mendoza said they got a more consistent usage plan for him down there, which to me reads as we're stretching not to start. Like what we have up here, I feel like he's going to be down there for a few weeks, just build up his pitch count to get to the point where he can give you like 4 or 5 innings. Then he's coming up, he's going in the rotation. That's the way I look at it.
But wasn't that their plan? And this is more rhetorical. This was their idea from like the spring. And we're in June now, and then it's like, it's just stupid. It's just tiring. It's like we shouldn't have to sit here and be like, oh yeah, well now we got to send down Myers at this point in the season to stretch him out as an arm. Then you should have just left him there at the start of the season. Maybe they didn't anticipate Peterson, Manaea, and Sengel all sucking, right? Because we know where they were hoping for players and people to be good. And we'll talk about 2 of them in a moment. But it's just, this is what happens when you have this many, if this guy is healthy, if this guy can provide, and put in quality starts, then we don't have to worry about all that, except for the fact that they didn't account for all of that going to shit as soon as possible. So this is kind of what you're left with. Do you think it's a good idea to have Myers stretched out like this as a starter?
I do, because at this point, I mean, like, he was fine early in the year. Like, the way the roster construction is not sustainable in terms of like having that many guys who are starters in the bullpen, and bullpen guys is not pitching the bullpen guys. Like, and to be fair to them, I think spring training, Senga was fantastic. We talked about that in spring, like how great he looked in camp. And like, he's not like, he had like a 2 good starts start the year. They fell apart after that. You had obviously Peterson. They were hoping that, like, last year, he was an all-star in the first half, maybe just overuse. Then he sort of lost his way. Like, I can understand the point. Okay, let's try Myers the bullpen enough here. Then you have those guys all struggling. Clay Holmes getting hurt. Like, now you're at a spot like, do we trust Jonathan? No. Like, are we hoping Sean Manaea get back? Okay. Like, like, why not just take this guy who's shown he can start in the big leagues? Hope you stretch him out, and hopefully, he gives you 4 or 5 innings, like 5 solid innings, like in the back of the rotation. That way, we're not having to burn 2 of our better middle relievers opening for Jonathan and Sean Manaea.
I'm at a loss for words. They're exhausting. It's June 3rd. I don't think I've ever was rooting for a Mets team in my life, Mike, it was such a drag by this time of year. Back off of what we just saw last year, probably honestly, the parallels with 2009 are right there. It just is. After the past couple of seasons that were like an emotional roller coaster and then collapses, and then you get into next year and then it just like, okay, everybody's hurt. Carlos Delgado, rest in peace to your hip. Mm-hmm. The injury updates for the Mets, there is some kind of good news. I think one of the two is good news. Kodai Senga's rehabbing. He may or may not come back. I don't know. I have no confidence in Senga. I've had no confidence in Senga, reading and hearing everything about him for the past couple of years on how everything needs to be perfect for him. He is mentally not okay enough for New York, in my opinion. It's just, he's got to go somewhere else. Him coming back, it's an arm, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Then you see Jorge Polanco finally look good in that first outing. And then obviously Francisco Alvarez, the most injury-prone player, but the best recovery that I've ever seen in my life, which is more or less a good or bad thing. Those 3 guys seem to be on the horizon to come back. I mean, listen, Alvy is still a massively flawed player, far better than Hayden Senger. And then Jorge Polanco, we see everything that happened last night with Vientos and his utter stupidity as a baseball player mixed with insane arrogance that I've only seen out of some of the best players of all time. But Mark is a one-hit wonder. Jorge Polanco needs to come back. This is out of the 3, he's easily the one that I anticipate the most of helping the Mets. This is the only one. If he's relatively healthy, if he can put in at bats, please God, we need Jorge Polanco. It's not a great thing considering the dude's shot. Like, his Achilles is done for. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's Jorge Polanco at the top of the list of anticipated returns. Francisco Alvarez, maybe as a DH too. And then Senga is just like Senga needs the temperature to be 75 degrees every day with butterflies everywhere for him to have a good outing. I'm really just sick of the same names popping up that I have to see on this roster and then we have to deal with and then be like, oops, oh, he didn't do well again, or he got hurt again, or he's not good enough. It's the same fucking story every time. We'll start with the positive, and that's Jorge Polanco. So you go there, and then you could talk about the other 2 Mutsies.
Yeah. Well, Polanco obviously is huge for the Mets because, like, he was a guy, he was their cleanup hitter. And we have seen now over the past few weeks, Mark Vientos has been the cleanup hitter for a lot of time. Jared Young just came back. He's a cleanup hitter. AJ Ewing, who's not a cleanup hitter profile, was a cleanup hitter at one point. You've seen Brett Beatty get run there. Like,
all we're missing is John Mayberry Jr.
Yeah. Like, we saw Marcus Semien hit there against a lefty. Like, that's another great shout there. Like, Polanco is a guy, he switch hits. He can be in that middle of the order spot here. I know they're talking about they can play a game or 2 at first base. I don't buy that. I need to I think he's gonna be a DH like 98% of the time. But like I'm in a group chat with you and another one of our friends. Like, we are just over the Mark Vientos experience. Like, we're tired of and last night we talked about Jonathan, like his 3-run homer. Like, Mark Vientos twice in that game, screwed up the play that he should be made by first base, and that cost him multiple runs. And then he's coming after the game saying, I feel great about myself. I think I'm playing pretty well over there when every number says that he's not.
Yeah.
The guy, if I'm the Mets, what I want is basically Jared Young plays first base like 98% of the time. Jorge Polanco is a DH a lot of the time. And if he can actually get out there, put him out there against righties, and then DH Alvarez against righties, and then do not deal with Mark Vientos if we don't have to, because the diminishing returns here, hoping that he can be the guy that you saw in the second half of 2024 appears to be a myth. That guy appears to be like a one-shot wonder where he's a very mediocre player who occasionally runs into a homer.
Speaking of the number one, do you know how many walks he has in his last 116 at-bats?
Mark Vientos? I'm guessing it's under 10.
It's 1.
I was right. It was under 10.
It was. And it's not just the Mark Vientos is getting opportunities. It's getting opportunities after he royally fucks up, after he consistently doesn't take accountability and thinks he's playing well, to your point, where Mendoza is answering questions about him after he blows past the third base sign, and Mendoza just seems pissed off. To me, this is part of the issue culturally. Accountability. You've had enough chances. Get the fuck out. And to the people who are moronic and are like, we don't want him to be like Dom Smith, we don't want him to be like Justin Turner, shut up. He's been here. He's gotten plenty of opportunity, over 500 at-bats. What else do you need? Sucks in the field, first and third base, cannot run for his life, thinks he can run, thinks he can play defense, can't walk, doesn't work a count. He struck out when the ball hit him.
Yeah, and the great example yesterday was we saw this in middle of the game. I think the Jared Young works a great at bat, draws a walk, forces Logan Gilbert out of the game. Reliever comes in, Mark Vientos swings the first pitch inside, grounds a double play, and ends the inning.
I think you said it all. There's nothing left I can say about this guy. He's living off of something that happened 2 years ago. And a lot of Mets fans need to let that go. And it's part of why they're in this situation as well emotionally.
Yes.
So that's enough Mets. I was apathetic to starting the show. I'm not feeling well. And then they just get me so angry.
Yeah. I'll have one note on Alvarez also here. Can we just talk about for a second how physically freakish it is that he's already on rehab when he had meniscus surgery 2.5 weeks ago?
It is. That's what I was saying. He is, but he sucks. So it's kind of I don't know what to make of it.
I mean,
he's a gamer. I respect his work ethic, but his work ethic is what does he work on other than, obviously not catching skills because he's terrible.
Yeah. To me though, it's this situation where the offense is a problem. You take the bat. Because Hayden Sanger, congrats.
Yes, no, absolutely. To the scenarios in which you were talking about, Polanco goes to first once or twice a week or whatever it is.
Or if he can't play every day, he's the DH that day instead of Mark Vientos.
You have to. Yeah. And I think Alvarez actually deserves more rope than Vientos does.
Yeah,
Alvarez is younger and at least actually shows some sign of improvement when he's trying to hit.
Yeah. Now go to the Yankees.
We suck. Judge has an injury. This one was kind of weird. The funniest report that I read about it, and it's not funny because we want Aaron Judge healthy, and he's one of the best things in baseball. Aaron Judge, from what I read, Mike, has pain in his ribs that causes his shoulder to hurt. And he has shoulder soreness. And I'm sorry, he's been Babe Ruth, he's been God the past couple of seasons. It pretty much his entire career since he really took off in 2017, outside of the injuries. But that's kind of the thing. He's in his mid-30s. He has injuries. He's been relatively healthy, obviously, as we mentioned. Crashed into the wall in LA. We know that's not really a fair thing to kind of be oh, you're injury prone. It's well, he ran into a wall. He is so invaluable to the Yankees that they're a completely different team. Yesterday, offensively, they showed up. One of the more poor starts by Cam Schlittler, but it's a problem. I think it's a problem. I'm sorry. I read shoulder soreness for a man in his mid-30s, and he's a large human being. I am concerned, and especially with the Yankees' track record in the Aaron Boone era, Mike, where they say, it's not that bad. And then someone is just like, nobody can look past the Anthony Rizzo concussion situation. It's simple. Nobody trusts the Yankees since then, and nobody should.
They let Anthony Volpe play the entire season last year to separate his shoulder.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Another example. Thank you. But go ahead. Like it's like this is your level of concern meter here on a scale of 1 to 10 with Aaron Judge. For me, I'm like at a 7 because right now they're saying like it's not that big a deal. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I am not trusting them, but it could be long term.
This is an 8 at least without an update. This could go up to 10 because we've seen what happens here. Because obviously, for all we know right now, like we haven't heard from him. We haven't heard from the Yankees yet. Like they said they're going to do more tests and let us know. Like obviously they said it's been bothering him for a little bit. It hurt him over the weekend, but you're a guy whose whole tool is like, I am the best power hitter in baseball. Like I am the best right-hand power hitter in baseball. And my swing is heavily involved with my shoulder. Like if that's happening here, either he's playing through it and his production has been dipping. Remember, we've been saying for a while, what's wrong with Aaron Judge? Why has he not been producing? This may be why, but like if he's sitting out here, oh boy, your lineup falls off a cliff very quickly. After Ben Rice and Cody Bellinger, like you're going down the
one of the funniest baseball games of all time, where they scored 13 runs, but then they didn't get a hit in any other inning, or they didn't get anybody on. And it's an incredibly streaky lineup, and there's a lot of streaky lineups in baseball, to be fair, but we all know it. The Yankees are usually one Judge injury away from being bad, and that's why he's MVP. That's why he's the best. They have talented hitters. Like, I like Bellinger. I love Ben Rice. Like, there's good hitters, but it's top heavy. We know it. They're a top heavy team, and they do have injury history issues with multiple players. Their shortstop, we were just talking about, which we'll talk about in a moment. Their DH, who is literally all muscle and no body fat percentage in Giancarlo Stanton, can't open a bag of chips.
Something's always pulled.
That's another thing, by the way, but I am concerned with Judge because also, like, if it's the rib side of things, that hurts with the torque. Like, you can't play through that. He shouldn't have to play through that. And I'm sorry, if the Yankees are deep enough, if their pitching is good enough, it's better in the long term, and the AL sucks. It's better in the long term that you IL him as soon as possible, let him recover. Because also playing through it makes things worse.
Yep, 100%, because this is a situation where, this is a guy you need. If he is gone, we saw what happened in 2023 where he ran to the wall and he missed like months and months. Like they fell off a cliff and were out of the playoffs. Like you cannot afford that to happen. Like if a doctor comes back and says, okay, he's got to rest for 3 weeks before he can come back, rest him 3 weeks. You are in a fine spot in the American League. Maybe you don't win the division, but you're still going to make the postseason. The AL is that bad. Like you can survive without a month of Aaron Judge. You can't survive without 3 or 4 months of Aaron Judge.
They can't. Not where this core is. They've had a couple of injuries pile up. I know Cole came back. Freeze issue there. I'm concerned. I hope it's nothing, but I'm a little concerned just by how they released the information about it and where it comes. So also somebody that you want to talk about that you mentioned is Anthony Volpe and how he had that shoulder injury this year, and it took him obviously a little while to ramp things back up. Him and Jose Caballero are essentially the shortstops within this team. Caballero infinitely better defensively. Volpe obviously a better hitter, but obviously a flawed one at that. So I'll let the floor go to you here on this. What is your kind of thought process regarding this topic on these two players?
Yeah, it's something here like we had heard for a little bit, like, okay, Volpe is here till Caballero comes back. And when Caballero comes back, we'll send Volpe down because Volpe needs to play every day. They decided not to do that. So we're going to keep Volpe up. We'll find opportunities to play them both. And you look at the playing time, Jose Caballero came back about a week ago. Since that point, since he came back, I'm trying to look up specifically how long games Anthony Volpe has played. Since that game, he has played, on and off here and there. He's doing a little better here. Like, to me, like, I think you need to find a way to play both of them at the same time. I don't know if I'm doing a good enough job doing that. Whether that comes from taking the bats from Ryan McMahon, who, yes, he is struggling a little bit, but he has improved. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Jazz Chisholm, who somehow is on the Tonight Show and like with Jimmy Fallon and like still hitting below 250. Like, Maybe take something back from him. That's something you can look at here. Maybe if Judge is hurt, you have to DH and play a little bit more. But if Caballero can go to the outfield, that's also something you can lay in mind here. Like,
Right.
I think you have, as long as Volpe is here, you need to let the guy play. You've seen how good he can be. Like, is he going to be the best shortstop in baseball? No, he's not going to be that guy. Can he be a useful big league player? Absolutely. He won a Gold Glove 2 years ago. Like, he's a guy who was a key factor when you went to the World Series, like getting to the bottom line. He gave you 20 bombs. He gave you like 70, 80 RBIs. You hit like 260. Like, that's a valuable player in the major leagues. As you can play good defense at shortstop. Like, you can't just keep jerking him around, is what I'm saying. I think that's the concern you have here.
Which is why I floated the idea of Jazz being gone this summer and trading Jazz in a package for someone else, and just have Caballero and when Lombard maybe potentially up later this year be the shortstop, and probably try and transition Anthony Volpe to second. See how he handles that, because it's less of a workload for him. I think he would be very capable as a second baseman. I think he has potential. I'm not as down on Anthony Volpe. I understand why. He puts together bad at-bats at times, strikes out with runners in scoring position quite frequently. But to be honest with you, as you mentioned, you list off all the things that he's good at. He's still valuable. He's still a valuable, good player.
Like
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Like, if you put Anthony Volpe on the Mets, like right now, he would be like the starting second baseman right now.
You're starting shortstop right now with Boba. So yeah, you're right. It's I think, again, as I've mentioned time and time again, he's a part of that pressure cooker that is the New York Yankees shortstop. And growing up a Yankees fan, I don't think did him any favors. I think he would have been better off if he grew up a Royals fan and played for the Yankees. Didi Gregorius did not have this sort of pressure playing as shortstop in the Yankees, but he fell off a cliff. Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, this guy, like, whatever the Yankees get out of him in the regular season is a plus at this rate. And all they have to hope for is for Stanton to be Babe Ruth come October. And that's really it. Anything regarding Stanton and injury and a lack of health shouldn't surprise me. It's like the sun coming up every day and setting in the West. I cannot care about Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton is robbing the Yankees of paychecks, and it's not his fault. But he's just a waste of space. The only reason why he's looked upon as respectable in Yankees, fandom in the sphere is that he had good Octobers. And that makes up for a lot, but it's really kind of it. Everything else about this has been a mess, especially after season 2, I guess you could say. It's unfortunate. It was supposed to be one of the greatest duos we've ever seen, but health was not permitting. Stanton, it's more of the same. We're in June now. It is what it is, man. What are your thoughts on this? Stanton's cooked.
Yeah, well, I know they said recently he's progressed to jogging in the outfield, starting to take at bats here. The reason we watch Stanton here is because we talked about before with Judge. Like, if Aaron Judge is out for any period of time, that's where you need Giancarlo Stanton back as your righty power threat in the middle of the lineup here, because that kind of buys you some time if you get Stanton back like a week or two and like he's hitting, he's dropping some bombs for you. But like, it's a tough spot because he's so valuable when you get to October because he's so good in the postseason, unlike Judge for the most part. But like, you have to navigate him getting there. And like, he's been a issue in terms of their roster construction for years because he plugs the DH spot. You can't use it to, get Judge off his feet every so often, or, give somebody else a day off. Or if you want to play like Goldschmidt at first base, put Ben Rice there because Ben Rice is not the greatest fielder. Like, having Stanton there, like, you want him in October when he's crushing baseballs and being a huge asset in playoff games. But navigating the regular season, is very tricky.
He's in his late 30s. He's in his late 30s, dude. Like, it's a waste of time. He's signing on through 2028. There's a $10 million buyout option in 2028. And it's also a team option. So realistically, he has 1 year left.
You're gonna decline that thing. Like, he's done after next year, basically.
Why would they do that? Next year it'll be 10 million is being paid by the Miami Marlins this year. And then next year it'll go down to 25 million, and the Marlins will also be paying 10 million of that. So he's realistically 15 million next year. And then that's pretty much it. He's going to be 38. They're not picking up a $25 million option. They'll buy him out for 10, and that'll be that. This is just, unfortunately, was a great move at the time that didn't end up materializing, and also magnified the lack of aggressiveness for Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. And this is where the Yankees are at this moment. They went for the older, more injury-prone player, and that's that. So
to be fair, when they got him, I mean, he's cutting off the MVP. He's hitting 55 home runs for the Marlins, and like they gave up nothing for him relatively. They gave
no, it was a great trade, but
at the time it was a great trade.
On paper it was, but he was also someone prior to that 159 game season where he only played over 130 games once in the prior. So 2012, oh my goodness, this is how far back it goes at this point. I remember when he was hitting bombs in when he was Mike Stanton at that time. But yeah, I mean, what can you say, man? He just never healthy enough. Only 3 seasons with a WAR above 1.5. It's tough, but he's probably going to go to the Hall of Fame at the end of the day. So let's move on to the NL Cy Young chase.
Yeah, if he gets to 500, he's going there for sure.
NL Cy Young odds. I mean, it's an incredible race. This is just one of these years like where other players are pitching in a different season, and you're like, yeah, he's got a great shot. Miz, Skeens, Ohtani, Christopher Sanchez. There's other pitchers as well. Those are the 4 that come to mind for me. I mean, this is an amazing race. This is fantastic. We're still just in June. Everyone is terrified of Miz elbow exploding at any moment in time because it's just the assumption. Skeens is God. Ohtani is just basically trying to collect all the Infinity Stone awards for Major League Baseball. I mean, what do you want? Like, what are you rooting for as a fan? Is the first thing I'll ask. Because I'm kind of in the category, to be honest with you, for Shohei to win Cy Young, because then it's just, for me, it clearly cements everything as he is the greatest baseball player of all time.
I think it'll be crazy to see if he does pull it off here, because we've discussed before how it's impacting his offense, but the Dodgers are in a situation where pitching wise where they do need him right now. There's so many guys hurt, and he's been so great on the mound. But Christopher, think of some of the other stuff he got going on here. I mean, Jason Mizorowski is pumping 103-mile-an-hour fastballs left and right. Christopher Sanchez is on a 39 scoreless inning streak. He's trying to chase down the Earl Hershiser record, which is something you haven't seen in years. We talked about Skeens. You mentioned Mason Miller, who's been electric as a closer. He's going to be 5th at best in this race because so many starters are having tremendous years. So, RIP my Yoshinobu Yamamoto ticket, who's merely good but not great this year. You need to be in this race. Chris Sale's been great. There are so many great pitchers in the National League this year. It's wild to watch this race. See, it's you're gonna I don't know if you could take any of those 4 guys you mentioned, put a chip on it, and feel good about your chances.
Yeah. I think I had Skeens at the start of the year. Logan Webb obviously not living up to the billing that I had hoped for him.
Well, he's injured also, Logan Webb.
Yeah, well, either way, he was not pitching well at the start of it. I mean, there's just so much talent in the NL with that. Ohtani still, by the way, just to clarify for people, still has 10 home runs, 293 batting average, and Mike, he's leading the league in OBP at 411.
Yeah, he's gonna be the MVP again, no question.
It's sure the lack of power may not be there. He's still probably gonna get around 30. So probably more than that. I mean, obviously the drop off would be immense because it's 54, 55. You have 44 the year prior.
But if he hits 37 homers and is pitching you a 170 ERA, he's getting that unanimously.
I mean, in the 2022 season, for example, right, where he had 34 homers, 95 RBIs, he was an all-star, top 5 in Cy Young, MVP, second in MVP. So, I mean, that was his worst offensive year in recent years. So, with Shohei, I kind of hope for him, or if not, Mike, similar to Victor Wembanyama, honestly. Paul Skeens, if he wins another Cy Young, this is the start of potentially the greatest career of all time. I'm not saying best pitcher. He's this launching point in his career is that of someone who could be the greatest of all time. It's that incredible. Back-to-back Cy Youngs would be insane. And he's that good. He's that talented every time. And he's got a body, I think, that could hold up. He's not some scrawnier pitcher that relies that much on his arm, if you get where I'm coming from with that. Yeah. Skeens is tremendous. Christopher Sanchez, to our good friend in our group chat, was not a big believer in Christopher Sanchez this year. But I mean, I think he's showing it. But if you had to pick today, Mike, who wins the NL Cy Young Award?
Yeah, I would probably give it to Sanchez because I think just like he's giving you more innings than Ohtani is just because he's pitching more often. I think that volume does matter to me in this award where if he's giving you 40 more innings than Ohtani and he's putting up this scoreless streak and he's the reason why the Phillies were able to stay afloat initially when they were struggling before they fired the manager. So I think I would lean Sanchez my favorite right now. This could obviously change 7 times before the year's over.
Shohei Ohtani, ERA of 0.82 over 55 innings. Really tremendous by him. I'm picking Skeens. I think Skeens is going to win it again. Fernando Tatis hit a home run, Mike. Where is it? There it is. May 30th. It took him a bit. Overall stats are not that awful, but he's clearly not the same player that he once was, and especially when he signed that mega deal. Power numbers are scary, Mike. You can't get paid that type of money, be relied upon like that, and only get your first homer just now. It's one of the most bizarre things that I've ever seen in sports where a guy is just essentially zapped of his powers.
Yeah.
It's like he's not the most prolific home run hitter, but it's like if Karl Anthony Towns suddenly just can't shoot threes anymore. And it's pretty crazy to think that something like that could happen. I don't know what to make of Tatis. I think he probably does need to move away, but he is Mr. Padre at this point, or it feels like it. What do you make of this? I mean, this is clearly worrisome. There's just no denying it.
It's very worrisome because, is he going to be hitting 50 home runs a year? No, but this guy's usually hitting 30, 35. I mean, the fact we're in June and he's hitting 1 home run so far, that tells you at most he's going to give you 18, 19 this year. That's a bad year. And then you're hoping that this doesn't continue because for how much he's getting paid and what he has been good otherwise. He's hitting well. He's, driving in runs, but, you're paying a guy that much money. You want him giving you 35 home runs a year. And if he's not doing that, that contract comes at anchor very quickly.
Yeah, to clarify for most, he's had 1 season over the 40 home runs in 2021, and the rest have been 25, 21, 25. It's the doubles that are down too. He only has 7 this year as opposed to, having over 20 in that time frame. Just even on the base pass, he's doing pretty well, I would like to say. 14 stolen bases is a good number. The strikeouts are there. You could argue that the walks have been fine. He's a 354 career OBP. He's got 347 at this moment. There are things that he's doing well, but again, to your point, you cannot have a lack of power like this. It is gravely concerning if I'm a San Diego Padres fan because the rest of in that ballpark on top of it, it's a problem. The good news is he's good everywhere else. It's just the most startling power situation that I've ever seen. I think you could say this about him, however, Mike. He isn't trying to compensate so much by trying to hit for power. That would affect other parts of his hitting. It's just the home runs are not coming, and the the OPS, the slugging. Do you know how low the slugging is? You probably do know.
Yeah, it's not good. I know that much.
It is 330.
Oof.
So from 2021, right? His slugging was 611, then it went to 449, then it went to 492, and then back down to 446. And then this year is at 330.
That's a huge plummet, which something you got to watch here and say, is this a 1-year blip?
Is that not? I mean, the 2024 was great, but that's also a 102 game sample size with that slugging percentage.
Yeah, it's not a great sample size here, and you wonder, was this something I think you're probably looking at? You're the positive, looking at Tatis here, is he did he change the angle of his swing? Does he need to do a launch angle change, try and get more line drives and more pop that way if possible? He's still young enough that it might just be okay, we just tweak his swing, he's back to what he's doing. But definitely need to watch that because a Padres team that is contending again, they are probably in the playoffs again here. That group is getting older, and if you want to make major change there, he's probably the most movable guy. But if his power disappears, that kind of is just as bad as everybody else's.
I just don't know what they should do. Honestly, I think that they should explore trading in the offseason. I think the Yankees, I wouldn't be shocked if that's a team involved in that. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Tatis, it is probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen in the sport. And lastly, if we have a sport next year, Mike,
Yep.
There's some CBA proposals that were brought up, salary cap, salary floor. Basically, the only people happy about this were Pirates fans.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So,
Pirate fans who are pro owner.
yeah, there's something that we like unironically as Pirates fans, right? The
Yep.
Pirates, right? They're
Yep.
bootlickers. Simple. You're licking the boot of the billionaires that are clearly taking in more money than everyone else, and they're too cheap to pay up for players. So instead of you holding them accountable and blaming them for the reason why you don't compete, you want to blame everyone else around Major League Baseball except for you guys. And that's what the Pirates are. The Pirates fans that support this shit are part of the problem. And
Yeah.
you could take it away. You could read off the tweets and the stuff that was reported out there if you had that up in front of you.
Yeah,
because this was ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I do. So obviously, as we all know, the CBA expires in December. The last time we had a CBA situation, we had a lockout that basically stretched from December until March. We had the first week of the season rescheduled. We started a week late, but we did get baseball. Now we're in a spot where, like, the worrying thing is not only like the owners proposed a salary cap for the first time since 1994. In 1994, we all know what happened. We don't need to rehash that, but the owners proposed a salary cap of $245 million on the high end, 171 on the low end. The players stuck with the luxury tax model that said, okay, luxury tax, the high end is 345, the low end is 150. It's gonna be a tax on the low end. And if you don't get to 150, you are basically paying a tax for not hitting.
Literally perfectly normal, fine, and it's hilarious. Yeah. We keep going.
Yeah. So the owner's proposal, everybody says kind of like, great. This is fantastic. The Dodgers can't spend this much money more than the Marlins. This is great. MLB has been using the Dodgers as red meat for the fans, saying, okay, like the Dodgers can't keep doing this, guys. Like, we need the cap to avoid this big payroll disparity. And and all the fans just take this hook, line, and sinker because the PA and all people who work for the PA, they have a messaging problem that the public does not get their position whatsoever because they just look at it as the players are being greedy. In terms of like like Bruce Meyer, I know he's trying to make this point. The argument he going out there and saying, "Oh, we're going to lose $500 million under the owner's proposal." That's not going to fly with fans who think you're overpaid. Like the argument you need to be making is more the argument of, okay, the proposal here, and the owners have basically said this is a key component that we're going to pool all the local media revenue into one thing, like the NFL does, like the NBA does, and distribute it to everyone. That's how we're going to afford this cap. But the players' proposal is a 154. The owners is 171 floor. If I am a fan of the Miami Marlins or, the Colorado Rockies or our beloved Pirate fans, I am sitting here looking at this like, why all of a sudden are you telling me that like my owner can spend $171 million next year when he's not doing it now? My question would be, A, where is this money coming from? And B, if the money's there, why isn't he spending it now?
And that's the problem that, a lot of people who lack critical thinking can't figure out. They have money. They've had money the entire time. Ratings, and I know you know this, but ratings have gone up across the board, Mike. We see the success in streaming. In ballparks, there has been higher attendances than we have ever seen before or in decades. Games have been shorter than they've been in decades. And yet, we want to sit here and say there's no money for this. We just saw a guy sign for $800 million. We know where the money is. And again, it's not like we're asking everybody to be the Dodgers here. We're asking you to carry your water.
Yeah.
And again, and even the difference between 154 and 171 at that level is $17 million. It's not a big deal.
And even I will also add in here the owners' totals is also misleading because they factor in basically every team has to pay about $20 million in player benefits like per year. That's factored into the cap floor equation for them. So like that 245 I'm talking about, that's more like a 225 salary cap, which is a lot less than like what the current
225 is nothing on a 25-man roster in this sport. It is nothing. It is nothing. It is such a fucking joke that we have to sit here now and thank God the Mets suck this year. Thank God these other big clubs with the high payrolls are struggling because you made this point many a times, even last week, with the small market teams that don't have high payrolls competing, further prove this. And they would be competing on a more consistent basis if what, Mike? They would spend money, but they don't want to. I'm sorry, like the Connor Griffin deals, it's all bullshit now. That stuff is like Connor Griffin's going to be, if he's as good as everyone thinks he will be, that in 3 years, he's going to be underpaid.
Yeah.
He's going to be. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And also, like, everybody who's talking about, oh, the salary cap, like bringing the Dodgers down, yes, we've talked about this before. The Dodgers thing is gotten out of control. I think we should be mechanisms to make this harder for the Dodgers just flex their financial muscle whenever they want. Like, whether that is, I've said, maybe it's NBA style, like penalties over the luxury tax where like it's hard to team build when you go over that threshold. Fine.
Yeah, the Dodgers should forfeit their first round pick.
Yeah, I said forfeit the first round pick. You can't use qualifying offer, stuff like that. Maybe to aggregate, make match money in trades that the NBA does. Like you can see, I can see ideas like that being where we're coming to. But like the idea here to like, if you make the Dodgers spend less money, they're still going to be good because they are run by very smart people. Like this is not a situation where like the Miami Marlins all of a sudden, because the Dodgers have a payroll tax on there, are going to suddenly become very good regular contenders.
Marlins also, the only time the Marlins spent money the past 15 years, they did it stupidly and it all backfired instantly.
Yeah, like you're telling me all respect to Paul DePodesta in Colorado. Is he going to make the Rockies like a magical contender just because the Dodgers don't spend as much money?
Yeah, it doesn't mean people want to go play in Colorado. You're going to be overpaying for like mid-tier free agents just to get them there.
Yeah, and in terms, and we've said this, somebody else did the comparison a few months ago. I agree with it. If you're in Cleveland the last like 30 years, you had to be a Browns fan with the cap or the Guardians fan without the cap.
Guardians are the most consistent franchise in that city. Cavs are very underrated, underappreciated.
Yeah, I think for sure you need more revenue sharing to get to some of these teams. Like if you gave, like, for example, the teams, like I'd say the three I was specifically talking to are Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Tampa, who know what they're doing and win with no money. If you give them money that maybe they don't have to trade Freddie Peralta to the Mets, they can sign Freddie Peralta. That's great. But like you're looking at a situation where like the Pirates are we're on Paul Skeen's countdown watch of like how long they'll keep him before they trade him.
Pittsburgh is like one of the best sports cities in the country too.
I've been to that stadium. That stadium is amazing. They should be selling out every single night, but they don't.
And the fans rightfully don't show up. But the other aspect of it too, just real quick, is that with the city of Pittsburgh, they have the Penguins and the Steelers in their respected sports. They're arguably the top three brands in that sport.
Yes,
like notable franchises. I know I'm not a big hockey guy. It's probably like the Canadiens, Maple Leafs. There's the Red Wings, the Rangers. Like I get that, but the Penguins are always like in those conversations, and Correct. The Steelers are the Steelers.
Yep.
Out of all the original NFL franchises, they are the best historically. It is the Steel Curtain is synonymous with that. And oh, by the way, I know in our lifetimes the Pittsburgh Pirates have been a fucking joke. However, historically speaking, the players that they've developed, the great teams that they've had, the Pirates are significantly historically prevalent. Yeah. Like they are a franchise that has had some of the all-time greats, the impact of Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell, a bunch of other players that have come there through the years. And we know when they were good in the early to mid 2010s before they went back to being the Pirates again. Like they are an embarrassment. And I agree to you with the new ownership in Tampa Bay, by the way. Like there's just so much stuff that they could do to better themselves. Hell, even Baltimore. Look how much better it is for baseball when Baltimore spend a little bit more money. They kind of stink right now, Yeah,
it's also something you got to look at here too with some of these teams. I mean, like you talk about those mid 2010s Pirates, like they're they're winning, like 95 games, 98 games. And the owner would not give them that extra dollars to put that team over the top. Like there's a reason they kept like losing in the wild card game or losing in the division series because they didn't have the horses to get deep into October.
All the pitchers that they had at the time too that they end up trading.
They had Andrew McCutchen in his prime. McCutchen was winning MVPs.
Crazy. Mets have no MVPs yet. So real quick, you are a huge Knicks fan. The Knicks are playing tonight in the first NBA Finals game since 1999. How much of 1999 do you remember?
I watched that series. Like I was old enough to watch that series. I was in elementary school when that series going on here. Crush me that they lost to the Spurs. It's crazy that they're back with the Spurs again. And the NBA has to be thrilled right now that the NBA Cup final is a rematch in the NBA Finals because now they can say, look, guys, it matters.
If the Knicks don't win it this year, Mike, and
Yeah,
I would pick them in this series.
yeah.
I do pick them. I've said this. I don't know
You got to get him now. You got to get Wemby now before he figures it out.
all the other players on the team. Dylan Harper's incredible.
Castle's great.
Castle's great. By the way, miss me with this fucking bullshit on a Brunson stopper. Anyone who says this shit is an idiot. Like, sure, if I would concede this on the Castle Brunson side of thing. Where will I see a world in which Brunson goes off for 40 when Castle's the primary defender? No. However, thinking that Brunson isn't going to be around that 30 per night, you're moronic. I just, no disrespect to Stephon Castle. Every single great player in the NBA, no matter what, they always get theirs. So they're going to.
Yeah, same thing with Wemby on this end. You're not going to stop Wemby through the next. He's going to have his nights. It's going to be one game in the series, I guarantee, where Wemby goes like 40, 20, and you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do to stop this? Like, and yep.
Cat needs to have a great series. It's really, what'd you say?
I think he will. I think like this is something, one thing the Spurs haven't really seen in this run. They have not had the big man who can pass to deal with here. And that's something I think will be a big weapon.
Think that I get where you're coming from with that. My whole thing is I think everyone undervalues that Wemby is the greatest defender of all time. Probably.
Yes.
And
he is, but I think like it depends how you want to use Wemby defensively. Because if he tries to take him on Cat's got to hang out on the perimeter. You got to pull Wemby away from the rim, which is something that you would want if you're the Knicks.
You would and you wouldn't, because first of all, your best interior presence is a broken hand, and it's not his pinky.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Mitchell Robinson stuff is worrisome. I think he's gonna play through it. Obviously, that's a huge problem. The Knicks have the depth. They have the coaching edge. I don't understand the odds for this. I think they're silly. I don't think they respect the Knicks enough.
Nope, they don't.
Home court is huge for San Antonio. That's what I'll say. It is a huge factor. And I think if the Spurs win this series, it'll be in 7. But otherwise, I think Knicks in 6 feels likely. But it really depends, like what version we're seeing. It's really a Castle and Wemby thing. Fox, I don't know. He's not been healthy enough this postseason or playing well enough at times. I think that they were one of those teams that were a perfect matchup for the Oklahoma City Thunder and took them down because of it. And I don't care about Jalen Williams, AJ Mitchell. Like they weren't supposed to be there in the time. I think if the Knicks do it, they do it now. I know that they could still compete. That was part of the reason with the Jalen Brunson, pay cut. I mean, this is it. Out of all your teams that you've seen in a final or a championship, Mike, is this the most confident that you've ever been, right? Because the Mets in 2015, Mets in 2000, Knicks in 99, Knicks now, and I know MSU is mixed in there, but I don't really count them. They're not the pro sports team. Is this the most confident that you've felt? I feel like you are.
Yeah, I think I picked Knicks in 6. I think probably the most confident other than this was I think when the Rangers in 14 are playing the Kings. Like that was
there you go. Sorry, I forgot hockey.
Yeah, like that was probably I think the most confident here, and like I feel like that series, like if they call goalie interference in game 2, I think it's a very different series when it ends up playing out. So I think this is a spot here. I think the Knicks in 6. I think like not getting enough respect here. Everybody's, I think, looking at the past saying, "Oh, the East sucked. You could have gotten through the East." I'm like, yes, you could have, but at the same time, like they are not like taking 7 games to knock off these bad teams. They are murdering.
Even if they did, it's not a reflection. There's been great teams that go to 7 against sides that you're like, why? How the fuck did they do that? How did that get to that point?
You don't beat 3 playoff teams by a margin of like 270 points and like in 14 games and not be a threat to win the title.
It was the Atlanta series was scary for sure, but
the player who scared the Knicks in the playoffs the most prior to Wemby was CJ McCollum. That tells you how great
which is like, it's just Spurs have crafty good guard. It's an experience thing for the Spurs. If the Spurs were 2 to 3 years older, everywhere else, I think it's Spurs. But again, this is literally shaping up for them. I hope for Knicks fans' sakes that they probably see a championship. But it's probably the most arrogant fan base outside of the Lakers in the NBA, so it's very hard to kind of feel happy for some people. But best of luck to you guys. I do have Knicks in 6 as well. I got like +3 or 4 something. So going with that. And the New York Mets continue to stink. The Jets and OTAs are happening soon. So with all of that, plug your stuff, Mike, as we wrap up here.
Yep, for sure. You can also always follow me on social media, Evan Phillips 331. It's MPHILIPS 331. This is on the Just and the Suffering podcast. We did the NBA Finals preview with the guys in Sorry to Interrupt podcast. They went deep into that. Also, there's a little MLB CBA discussion, so that's on there as well if you want to check that out. Not with them, but like with my legal correspondent, Phil Frietta. So good chat him out. Sky Guys podcast actually just dropped while we were recording this here. A deep dive into the Mandalorian. Where we had spent over an hour breaking down the movie in full depth. You can check that out there. Writing wise, fan sided, I have some NBA, like a mix of NBA, NFL, offseason college hoops content there, and the Mets on SI for the Mets content here. And I'm working on something right now about our favorite first baseman, Mark Vientos.
Oh, and speaking of the New York Mets, Jonah Tong sent back down. So that's a little bit of late breaking news there from a good friend in our group chat.
That's our breaking news.
There you go. Jonah Tong sent down back to AAA Syracuse. And again, World Cup coming around, something that you and I are going to be discussing soon at Martino Puccio, everywhere at Martino Pucci on Twitter. More World Cup content coming out. Obviously, that Milan podcast as well. Keep moving in that direction. I hope these allergies and whatever cold in the month of June that I got goes away as soon as possible because I want to enjoy life. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow here on U Stadium's YouTube channel. Check us out every week on the Starting Nine. Other than that, we will see you next week.